mentioned Dak Prescott, and that takes us into segment 3. We did say what? I'd say this is what's next, and that is the Dallas Cowboys and their young stars, most notably Ezekiel Elliot, the running back, who is still, as we record, holding out for a new contract, has not come to a deal. And now we've come to the point in all of this, Cedric, that Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboys owner, is making jokes about Zeke. Is that a good idea, really?
He's got the checkbook. He can do what he wants. And you know what he said, Jen, after they asked about that, when he said Zeke who, they asked him about it, and he goes, you know what, I paid for the right to joke about Zeke. And what that means is y'all have no idea how much I've invested in this kid that you don't know about outside the contract and all of that. And Jerry's basically saying, look, I sat through your 6-game suspension. I supported you here. I supported you there. And you're not in camp. So I understand why Zeke is not in camp, because in the NFL, the way it's set up, the only way to get your money if you're not a quarterback is to hold out. And that's sad to say, but that's how it's built. That's how the CBA is structured. So they need to make sure and get his butt in camp. They are a Super Bowl contender with him on the field. The pieces are in place, good defense, good receivers, good young quarterback, good offensive line, and the missing piece is Zeke Elliott, the 2-time rushing champion. He's not going to lead you to a Super Bowl if he's sipping pina coladas at Cabo. He needs to be drinking Gatorade and water and Oxnard. That's where he needs to be.
Yeah, you know, no matter what any of these other guys they have on the roster at running back do in the preseason, I think everybody knows that Ezekiel Elliott is a difference maker at that position. You know, Jerry Jones, he did joke about it, and maybe that rubbed Ezekiel the wrong way. Whether it did or not, I don't know. But the truth is, Ezekiel Elliott knows the truth. Jerry Jones knows the truth, and they each know that they know the truth. So while that may be a joking moment for Jerry Jones, you know, they all know that Ezekiel Elliott needs to be on this team when this season opens. They don't need to have him still in Cabo, still on the golf course, still on the beach when they're opening the season here very soon. He has missed most of training camp. I get that. But I think that from all reports, it sounds like he's doing the right thing to get ready for the season, even though he's not in camp. You know, I have to say, Cedric, even though this is dragged on and continued and added layers of some ridiculousness as we've gone, it seems a little laughable. I can't even hardly put this on the crazy scale because of what's happening with Antonio Brown. I mean, if you want real dysfunction and lunacy in training camp, I think you start there, and then way down the pecking order you go to your next one, because that whole thing with the Raiders and the helmet, everything else this preseason in the NFL has paled in comparison to that craziness.
It is so silly. And if
Crazy.
you watch Hard Knocks, it's nuts. I mean, it's a real deal. He's like, I gotta play. Well, you're not gonna play for $30 million without the right helmet. Man, for $30 million, I play without a helmet. I might be eating dinner through a straw in 6 months, but I have $30 million in the bank. I mean, come on.
Well,
he's gonna play. He's gonna play.
And is it ironic at all to anybody that the NFL, which has, you know, fairly clearly not been real, you know, mindful of helmets and safety and all that for the last how many ever years you want to say, they've now got these standards and they're saying, we're sorry, but your helmet doesn't match up, and yet Antonio Brown is fighting them on that? I mean, it seems a little bit odd to me that, like, the league and its track record of, you know, head safety and brain trauma, and yet he's saying, oh no, this is the helmet I want to use. Or
Jen, maybe he's saying it's hot out here and I've got to think of a reason I don't have to practice in its intense heat. Because I watched Hard Knocks the other night. He's running fine. He might be, the blisters on his feet might be hurting him a little bit, but he seems to be running real well.
we haven't even talked about that cryotherapy stuff, and I don't wanna, because it makes me think about those feet, and ooh, I'm done with that.
Jim, on one more topic, fantasy league drafts are coming up soon, and we need Ezekiel Elliot and Melvin Gordon to sign so we know when to draft them. So if I could give Jerry Jones a little piece of advice, and I watched Rounders the other night, so in the voice of Teddy KGB, head that to mine is money.
So it's all about your fantasy league team is what we're coming around to.
Of course.
Well, it's all about your fantasy league team, and next week it's going to actually be all about actual football games. So while we've talked all football today, we're going to keep it up next week because we're actually going to be in game week. Longhorns, Sooners, Cowboys, we'll have it all to talk about. So come on back to the Writer's Block. We'll see you next week.